Hey there, fellow Vulcan survivors. Rodamont here. Thank you for tuning in to Stationeers Brutal Vulcan. Episode 7. Expanding the base for more atmospherics. So as you can see above my head, the plan is to set up atmospherics. And before I start, because I'm not going to have a lot of time to explain this project, what it's going to look like. I want to change where my oxygen filter is. And I don't want to lay out my gas filtering elegantly, because throwing the oxygen filter in the greenhouse is like cramped and messy, and I don't really like it. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time like laying down foundations and building an area that can do atmospheric filtering. Now, from a broad picture, what we need in order to make water, because right now we are already making oxygen, and as the potato plants seed and I plant more of them, we're just going to get more and more oxygen. So once I get when I get like a 64 potato plants or something like that, I'm going to be producing enough oxygen to survive. And the oxygen problem is really only tied to waiting for the potatoes to bloom, meaning they need to be supplied with carbon dioxide in a temperate environment, with a grow light, and with water. Also, to answer another question, one of the reasons why I like grow lights over just like natural sunlight, because I get that question a lot. Stationeers has seasons, and the amount of sunlight and the angle of the sun will change over time due to seasons. So it's a variable that is regularly changing that cannot be controlled, and I can get like kilowatts of power from the sun, and a grow light costs 70 watts. So it completely does not make sense to not use grow lights. On top of that, solar heat will build up through windows. So in my base, as you can see, I didn't use any windows, and that's because the world is hot enough. I don't really need the sun, or rather Janus, to add more heat to my base. One could even argue that like the heat that the printers here produce and the heat of my filtration is a problem. There's a certain amount of heat that like I'm happy to deal with, but unnecessary heat from the black hole beaming down radiation on me, totally unnecessary. And that's why I'm basically not planning on using a whole lot of windows. So back to my original point. What I need to do in order to make water is I need to filter volatiles off of the environment and combine that with my oxygen that I have from my waste tanks and potatoes to then create a fuel mix of hydrogen to oxygen gas, combust it, and the combustor has to be outside because the combustor generates an immense amount of heat, and it would like kill me, if I put it indoors. And then condense it from steam into water. And there's one little hitch about that, which is that the gas mixer really only works if the two gases are roughly the same temperature, and my hydrogen and my oxygen are not likely to be the same temperature. So I'm going to need to manage to like control the temperature of the hydrogen and oxygen going in. I could try to like grab a paper and pen and figure out like the thermal expansion of the moles of hydrogen to ratio the oxygen and the hydrogen together, but I'd rather just keep them at the same temperature. That way like my brain can handle it. So that's what we're doing right now. What I want to do is I want to expand my my room here so that it can accommodate a lot more atmospherics. So what I'm planning on doing is building 2 units out this way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then this way 9 and 10 and 11. So I need like 11 frames essentially. Rainstorm, Killer Clown, Pierogi, and Kath, thank you for the resubs, by the way, and the gifted subs as well. So my plants, my little potatoes are doing just fine over there. And I am eventually planning on lining up all of my filtration units like side by side so that they're like manageable and easy to access. Basically, high levels of usability, right? I want a very walkable base. I want things laid out in a way that is like logical and easy to understand. And that way you guys can follow along. So these are some changes that I'm eager to make. Another thing I'd like to do is use up a little less power. I don't really need these airlock control consoles on. I could just like cycle the airlocks with the door panels, and that will be fine. All right, another thing I'd like to do before I wait for these is make 3 wall kits. So another thing I want to do is I want to have windows between me and the greenhouse, so I can actually look into the greenhouse easily rather than having to like peek through like a creeper through the airlock door. So I'm going to get some of these wall kits and throw them down so that I can easily see into the greenhouse. Which means I need 3 plastic, 3 wall kits, 3 glass. Then on top of it, everywhere I intend to expand outside needs to have like frames welded into it, because I don't want to introduce atmospheric gases into the base. So that's going to be another thing to do. So I've got big plans, and I'll just work as fast as I can to see them to fruition. Hi, little potatoes. Keep growing, please. All right, so I did just put a window there, which means I can get rid of that. And I want a window here and here as well. Because on the other side of this window is going to be my base rather than the outside, so I might as well just be able to see into the greenhouse and not needlessly obscure it. And all of this, the air conditioner is going to stay because, you know, the farm needs to be air conditioned. Even potatoes produce heat. But all of this filtration setup will eventually move. Fantastic. Thank you for the resub and Syndra too. Life's pretty good. No complaints for the most part. All right, another thing I'm going to need to do is if I want to weld frames on the other side of this. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 frames needed total. And then I need double that, 44 steel frames, in order to like weld them solid to displace the outdoor atmosphere. So 22 frames, 44 sheets. And then I'm going to need walls along here facing inside so I can put the frames on the outside because they take up the same space. It will make a lot more sense once it's done. But yeah, we're going to have a much more expansive base once done. Okay, 44 steel sheets. And then my food and water are okay for now, but obviously I'm going to need to re-up them eventually. There's one thing I was thinking of doing, which was suggested last stream, is get a pipe radiator. Oh, I need steel for that. Well, that'll have to wait. Another thing is, once it's dark out, I want to cycle my my coolant gases, so that I have cooler coolant, because my coolant is probably not very temperate at the moment. Yeah, 169. I can get it down to like 126 or so, and that would help out a lot. One thing to say about the air conditioning is air conditioners are more effective the cooler the coolant is, obviously, and then also the pressure efficiency. So if I can get this room closer to 100 kPa, that would be better as well. You want me to petition wearing a green shirt? You know, actually, this is green. It's just showing up kind of dark because of the chroma key, but it is technically a green shirt. But if it was like a bright green shirt, like the color of this wall back here, or rather it's a green screen, then yeah, I would be a floating head. And then I could pretend to be a Futurama head in a jar and make Nixon jokes or something. I don't know. All right, while I'm waiting for that, let's go ahead and tear up the old oxygen filter, because the sheets are going to take a minute. So, to talk about this a little bit, the pipes in Stationeers is like one giant container. There is no concept of gas flow. So if you have like 10 pipes aligned with like, let's say, 1 bowl of gas, and you remove the end pipes and you have 8, you're still going to have a mole of gas, just higher pressure because there's less space for it. So you can move oxygen around in this game by just adding pipes on one side and removing pipes on the other, and you don't lose gas. So the oxygen that I have stored in these tanks, I'm eventually going to move to where the filtration is, and in order to move that, I don't need vents or anything. I just need to build pipes to where I want it stored and then remove the pipes sequentially behind it. So I mentioned that only because I want you to know that I'm not like losing any gas here. I'm not nuking any gas. Basically, this pipe here has like 0.001 moles of oxygen, and I totally don't care about that little. That's like 1 second of what like a potato would put out. So I am working on removing the oxygen filtration here, because I just don't want it here. I don't think this is a good spot for it. Ultimately, it crowds the room, and I don't want to crowd the room. So I've tore up some of the plumbing, or ducting, or whatever, and as time goes on, we'll get it fully moved. Okay, I am definitely already at the 44 mark. Then the other thing I'm going to need to do here is, let me get my iron. I'm just going to use basically iron kit walls because I have some iron sheets in my locker right now. Oh, it's not dark out yet, good. And I want to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 walls down, so that I can build frames on the other side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the pressure of the base is going to drop dramatically once I'm done, but like, whatever. All right. Right now, I'm planning on just putting the framework down. Before I do that, let's switch my air tank around so I can keep breathing. Cheers. I hope I didn't count wrong. No, seems like I counted right. Alright, so the reason why I have the frames on the inside is I can't put it here because these flat walls block me. But on the other side of these flat walls are now iron walls, preventing atmosphere and my base from mixing. So I can pull up these walls, no problem. And then once it gets dark, I'm also going to cycle my coolant gas. Alright, these new walls I can put out here as flat walls. And then I'll try to get an accurate count of how many walls I'm going to need total. Is there a noise block? I don't know what that means. Is there a way to block sound in the game? Oh, I get it. Yeah, are there speakers? Are there alerts? Yes. They do not work in vacuum, as they shouldn't, but yes, there is alerts. You're not necessarily going to hear it all that well like inside to outside, but there are klaxons, which are the speaker, and there's even music. You can play music in game, albeit very simple music. Okay, and then I have definitely put the window in here, right? Oh god, oh god. Yes, okay, woo! That was riskier than I would like to admit. I should have probably double checked, but I trusted myself. So now what I'm doing is I'm gonna weld these steel frames in so that this is a solid. It displaces all the atmosphere, and I can then add this new area to the base without mixing outside air and inside air. But speaking of which, let's go ahead and grab more outside air. So I'm going to stick my back along this thing. Oh god, where'd it go? I had something in my other hand. Ah! Time to go find my coolant tank. Hope it didn't go in the magma. There's flares. Do I need to go print up a new one? It really, like, it yeeted something fierce. Yeah, let's go print up a new one. Because it could have gone in the drink. I'm not really sure where it went. I should have not had something in my other hand. So I'm gonna pause on the welding the frames here so I can get another tank. Good job, me. Tank went. My people need me. Bye. All right. Well, we're gonna need steel from here and silicon from here. And a wee bit of copper. Things not to do. Blowing out your tank so that you have to go like on a wild goose chase to find it. Yeah, that would be high up on the list. But whatever. I mean, you know. Stuff happens. Big old waste of resources, but... am I gonna need... No, okay, I don't need anything to build this thing. And the steel is gonna go back in the auto lathe eventually. Because, I'm gonna need more kit walls, flat walls, in order to finish this project. But alright, let's go ahead and get the tank back in. Point this inward and on. And now our coolant is chilling. Alright, back to the welding of the frames. And I'll try not to, you know, lose my tank again. A lesson to be learned. I found a decent transportation method, like pneumatic cannon. I have actually built one of those, like, long ago as, like, a joke. They're a little scary, though, because your suits don't... I mean, unless you have, like, a harm suit or a hard suit, your suits don't really hold up all that well. So, we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 flat walls. And oh, the sun's already coming up. So, sorry, Coolant, but you'll just have to wait for the next day cycle. Because I don't have any flat walls in here, right? No, I don't. Oh, you know, I could actually save myself a few. Because I can pull them from the greenhouse. Okay, you stay there. Let's go recover some of the flat walls from the greenhouse, because they have windows on the other side. So this one. You still happy? Thriving. Yep. Nice. Am I expanding the hab section or the farm section? The hab. I'm building atmospherics. It's above my head. And then here. I can't really get the other one at the moment. Oh no, the other one's just a frame. Okay. So we need 11 more flat walls. Oxygen's okay. Waste tank's getting a little high. So let's... I have spare canisters. Don't I? Yeah, I do. I have a spare canister waste tank. In fact, let's go ahead and just... There. I have an empty waste tank. And a spare empty waste tank. Would automating the intake of night gas be useful? Yes, it would. And I plan on doing it. It's just not mission critical at the moment. So, hence not doing it right now. I'm working on the things that I need to survive, not the things for convenience. If I worked on convenience, I'd be dead. I'll just say it bluntly. Nice to haves are only nice to have when you've done your need to haves, and I don't have my need to haves done. My need to haves must be done or I die. I am still not out of the woods, not by a long shot. Because I am not currently producing cool oxygen to breathe, and I'm not currently producing water to drink. And without those things, I'm on borrowed time. Speaking about water, I am thirsty. So I'll be going into my hidey hole in a minute. All right. It's hot in here, but it's not going to kill me hot, so that's fine.
Temperature high.
13 days. All right, there's food and water. Filled. Oxygen's back in the tube. And we're good to put the rest of the flat walls in. And I'm using flat walls because, like, their rotation does not matter. They're just flat walls. So, I'm not fooling around with aesthetics. So I picked flat walls because they only cost steel, which is, like, cheaper than having to use plastic constantly with kit walls. And then their aesthetics are so basic. But, from a scientific standpoint, not that this is a game mechanic, if you were to have a base on a hot planet, you would want white walls to reflect heat anyway. So, it does make sense. Alright, let's go remove the frames that were in there and the temporary walls and open up the base. The pressure in the base is going to go down dramatically, but, like, that was to be expected. And now we have a lot more room to work with, where I can set up the atmospherics. Now, the other thing I'd like to do is do another big batch of smelting. So I think that's I'm not even going to bother with the frames right now. That's my next project. because I'm going to need a lot more metals, because I'm basically out of metals. I'm going to need a lot more metals for atmospherics. Iron, gold, and copper. And unfortunately, the hottest of the day has already passed, so... Oh, actually, that's not true. If I smelt the gold first, the oxygen of the gold in the furnace will then heat up the other... the furnace for the other metals. So I'll do gold, then iron, then copper, in that order. That way I can use the oxygen of the gold well. And that way the ambient temperature will matter a whole lot less. Okay, I have enough iron. Well, come on, game. The back pressure of trying to fill the voids that I mined out was like shoving me backwards with my jetpack on. I don't need silicon, I don't think. I did just get a batch of that. So I'm going to go for roughly 100 of each. That should help me to get all the atmospherics that I need. So the atmospherics that I need is a... No, I already have an oxygen filter. I already have a carbon dioxide filter. So I'm going to need a filter for volatiles, a filter for water, a phase change device, and a gas mixer at the very least. That is the very baseline atmospherics. And then probably, ideally, another air conditioner and another tank. The concept that I have in the future, and this won't be immediate, but like in the medium term, after like making water is done, is that I want a local loop. I want 2 local loops of coolant. So I want a local loop of coolant that helps with base temperature regulation, where instead of like using the base's atmosphere as a heat sink, which will then raise the temperature of the base and lower the temperature of the base, and it will like whip back and forth. What I want is like a tank, a large tank full of like, you know, atmospheric gas that's cooled down to base temperature, cooled down to like, let's say 25 Celsius. And then, and treat that as like base temp, so that it can use heat exchangers in order to cool down any captured carbon, carbon dioxide rather, oxygen, or volatiles used in the process of making water. So I don't have to do like calculus every time I want to make water. And then the other thing I want is another tank, same deal, cool down for water condensation purposes. So essentially I'm going to have 3 tanks. I'm going to have the tank that draws nightly off of the atmosphere, and the nightly tank is going to be the one that gets flushed regularly, and then 2 other tanks, one for base temp and one for water condensation. And the reason I want to keep those 2 separate is the water condensation tank is going to get thermally shocked regularly. Anytime I need to condense 2,500 degree steam into water, the coolant in that tank will inevitably get super viciously hot, and that's why I don't want it as the tank to control the temperature of the base, because that one's going to whip back and forth. So those are some things to do in the near-ish future. And this is going to heat up a lot because the gold that I'm putting in here is combusting. So as you can see, it's already hotter than atmosphere. By design. That's the gold I need for atmospherics. Oh, let's close the handle. Not that it would really matter. Yeah, it's 850. And using gold or silver outgassing is probably how I'm going to make Invar and Constantin, likely. Because I don't really have a lot of spare oxygen to feed the system. Okay, we got a whole bunch of metals. I'm gonna evacuate the furnace. And now we're gonna set up atmospherics. So let's start printing atmo. So I need at least 3 more, I think. And it's 30C in the base right now. Oh, before I make that atmo, sorry. Radiator. Oh, that needs the steel. I could have also made another batch of steel. That wouldn't have been a bad idea because I'm going through my steel pretty quick, but whatever. I'm going to get 1 pipe radiator to regulate the temperature of the oxygen, and then I'll go back to atmospherics. Alright, well that atmospherics prints up. This will help the oxygen in that tube to normalize with the temperature of the base, which the temperature of the base is better than the oxygen in that tube. The oxygen in that tube got hot. And that way I won't be like wheezing every time I cycle. Alright, we are taking this aux filter out of here. It's not where I want it. Changed my mind. And then I'll have to rewire that. Well, I don't have to. Gotta be careful with what I click on here, because if I click the floorboards with the wrench, that'd be bad. Now, I have a lot of oxygen in this tube, so I can't remove this inline tank, because that inline tank is, if I did that, it would overpressurize the pipes in there and probably cause a rupture. But there we go. Now it's a bit roomier in here. And I can move around more freely, which is nice. Okay, something else. I don't like the location of this vent, which puts carbon dioxide back into the room. I'll put it here. Covers up a little bit of the window, but that's fine. Oh, there we go. And that only really helps when this carbon dioxide is room temperature. So that's another, that's that like heat exchanger coolant loop that I was referring to. Also, I probably don't need to be filtering more carbon dioxide. I'd imagine that's pretty pressurized now. Yeah, it has 2.7 kilomoles. I don't think it needs any more, guys. Glad I caught that before it went kablamo. Although, the filter probably would have died before that happened. One of the advantages of small filters is they die before you go boom, sometimes. It really depends on the capacity of the network. But there we go. So now we have a vent that can vent back into the room. And yeah, let's go ahead and lay out the aux line now. Scandeath, I'm happy to be back. Oh, I like unplugged that and I didn't even miss a beat. Nice. So this is going to be where I filter my oxygen instead. I think it's a little bit more elegant that way. Yeah. And I'll clean up, like, the random terrain filtering through the ground eventually. I don't feel an urgency for that. Okay. Now I need to print up a whole bunch of these, because I need to connect these pipes to here.
Air tank low.
In order to move the oxygen to where I want to store it. So I have 9 insulated pipes. So what I want is, oh, there's an atmospheric unit. And this atmospheric unit is going to be for volatiles, eventually. So we'll have carbon dioxide, oxygen, volatiles, and you can see that they're being laid out all the same. So let's go get 2 more gas utilities. And the plan is to use these gas utilities here for the volatiles once they're empty of oxygen. You want to get my pressure up? It is nighttime. It just became nighttime. That's not a bad idea. It's pretty easy to set up automation for intakes for the coolant, because I would just need a memory of like 127 Celsius and then a comparison of like, hey, when it's below 127 Celsius, turn the thing on. I'll eventually be doing that. But it's just, oh, wow, my coolant was not that hot. I'll have to keep track of, like, when the sun's up so that I can switch that back off. Because I really don't want to be pulling in hot atmo. Also, waste tank's rather full. I don't have a waste tank dump either, but that's something I could build once this current project is done. So this, I'm definitely going to need more insulated piping, but this has my oxygen in it, and I need to connect it to here and then remove the pipes sequentially in reverse order to put the oxygen where I want it. And also, as soon as the potatoes are seeding, we're going to want to do something about that, too. Plant more. And I'm going to need more hydroponic trays for that. I'm a busybody. I could just wait for all of them to print up, but I'd rather just go back and forth, back and forth. Okay, so here's proof of what I was saying before. Obviously, this is going to have nothing in it, and this is going to have the 552 moles of oxygen. If I connect this up, this all has 552 moles of oxygen, and then I just delete this piping inverse backwards, and it will be fine. I won't have removed any oxygen from the system, because I need to cherish my oxygen. So as you can see, if I remove this inline tank, there's still 552 moles of oxygen in there. They just got shifted upwards. You essentially push the gases for free. Barely made it into that door in time. Someone's impatient, and that someone would be me. Oh, crap. Like I said, doing them in sequence. I don't think I deleted any oxygen there, but if I had got rid of that, it would have deleted some of the oxygen. You know, the percentage of oxygen stored in that pipe compared to the rest of the system, because I separated the two out. In fact, it's worth... Well, I don't want to... well, here's what I'll do. I'll show it like this. So separating them out, there is 19 moles of oxygen there and 532 in there because it equalizes the volume along the whole system. So I didn't remove any oxygen, I just isolated some. Where, you know, now it's still 552 in there, as you can see. Okay, next up is volatiles. And this this design is purposeful. I'll show you in a minute why I'm laying it out like this. What is... that's a lot of gas movement. It kind of panicked me. But I think that's just like, hey, the plants are doing plant stuff. Alright, so for this, we need 2 regular pipes. Cables and a screwdriver. And if I have 552 oxygen, I'm going to need roughly 1100 hydrogen in order to combust it. So let's get a Volatile's filter. Oh, yeah, it's day. My, I really should set up automation for that intake. I'm coming! Right, how hot did it get? 153. Yeah, that's fine. Also, I don't need that on anymore. Stupid your anus. Thank you for tuning in to Stationeer's Brutal Vulcan, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any questions for me, let me know in the comments below, but I'm not looking for feedback or backseating. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rodamont.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rodamont.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Catch you next time.